Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Dear students of grade 9, welcome to your chemistry class. Today we are going to discuss chapter number 5 with topic allotropy. This topic is mentioned on pages 90 and 91 of your textbook. In this topic of allotropy, we are going to define and there are some conditions and properties. So first is definition of allotropy. So first I am going to write the main definition, and it is basically allotropy is the phenomena which is also called process in which more than one forms in same physical state. More than one state, or we can also write an element existing or exists in different physical forms having same chemical properties but different physical properties. So here I am writing first different physical properties but similar or have similar or same chemical properties. I can also write here the same or similar chemical properties. So this is the definition of allotropy. You have to note it down from here. Now there are different physical forms, okay, and this is the phenomena, and different physical forms indicate that there are different physical properties which are normally present in any atom of the element. Along with it, second part of the definition is different physical properties. So that is related to actually physical forms. Is this clear? And the chemical properties, that is the physical and the chemical properties, are totally entirely different in an atom of the element. So this will become the definition of allotropy. Now I am going to give you some other concept of allotropy, and those are conditions. What is the meaning of conditions? शराइत, कि आप कौन से रीजंस हैं जिनकी बुनियाद पर एलोट्रॉपी को या किसी भी एलिमेंट की एलोट्रॉपी को बनाते हैं, या क्या रीजंस होते हैं. सो दोज रीजंस आर बेसिकली गिवन द नेम और हेडिंग conditions. So first condition in this case is that you have to mention here the two or more kinds of molecules of an element, that some elements have more than two or more kinds of molecules in them. So I am going to write the first condition with oxygen, because oxygen has two allotropic forms. Oxygen has two allotropic forms, and these two allotropic forms of oxygen are basically the oxygen O2, the normal molecular oxygen, and the other one is ozone, which is O3. So I am going to write both allotropic forms of oxygen now. So the first one is in front of you O2, which indicates it is a molecular oxygen. It is one type of or one allotropic form of oxygen. Other one is O3, and it is also called ozone. So what is O3 and O2? What is the basic difference between both? O2 has 2 atoms of oxygen while O3 has 3 atoms of oxygen. This is the main difference between both. So O3, you know very well that it is basically an allotropic form of oxygen which normally used to absorb the ultraviolet radiation from the sun. So this is a very important gas for us as it prevents us from the ultraviolet or UV radiation of the sun. Is it clear to you, class? So here you can note these two allotropic forms of oxygen. Now the second condition on which we can make any allotrop of an atom or element, and these are basically depending upon the arrangement of two or more atoms or molecules in a crystal of the element. So second condition is based on the arrangement of atoms, and these atoms are basically present in a crystal of different elements. So here you will write down the arrangement of atom. While in the first condition we are coming across the number or kinds of molecules. Clear? So you have to write in this manner that you have to give the example of some of the elements which are very important, and one of them is sulfur. Basically sulfur shows three different types of allotropes. Three different types of allotropic forms of sulfur are: number one is rhombic sulfur, which is in rhombus shape. You have seen the rhombic shape of the sulfur as well. So first one is the rhombic sulfur, second one is called monoclinic sulfur, which is needle like, and the third one is the plastic sulfur, which can be molded into any container, that it can be melted and then it can be used for many purposes. So here the third one is the plastic sulfur. Rhombic, monoclinic and plastic, these are all allotropic forms of sulfur which are actually formed due to different arrangement of atoms of sulfur in a molecule of sulfur, and they have different physical but similar chemical properties. You have to remember all these things as well. Now you must remember that what is this sulfur? It is an atom or a molecule. So I am writing here S8, which indicates that it is a molecule. So this molecule has different arrangement of atoms, and therefore we can say that it exists in different forms or different allotropic forms, which are mentioned in front of you in the form of rhombic, monoclinic and plastic. So finally we can say S8, which is a molecule or molecular formula of all these sulfur. So these are all atoms of sulfur. Clear? Finally we have come across the condition. After definition and conditions of allotropy, now I am going to write the next heading: properties of allotropy or allotropic forms, or I can write the properties of allotropes only. So the heading will become properties of allotropes. In this regard, I will start from the first point, which is actually mentioned in your definition of allotropy, and it is that different allotropes have, or different atoms of the elements have different physical properties, but they have similar chemical properties. So this is the main theme, main concept of the allotropy, that different atoms of elements must have different physical properties, but they should have similar chemical properties. So this will become your first point regarding properties of allotrope. Now the second important property of allotrope is that, as I mentioned in the previous point, that they have different arrangement of atoms in space at a given temperature. What is the meaning of this? That allotropes are basically solids. Why the solid? Because the solids have some geometrical shape, and they have the arrangement of atoms in them in the space, and this arrangement of atom normally present at a given temperature, at a required temperature which is given to you. So the physical and similar chemical properties are indicating here that they have physical properties, and due to which we can say that different arrangement of atoms in space, we can also give the idea about that जो तरतीब होती है आपकी एटम्स की वो मुख्तलिफ होती है, और ये एक दिए गए टेम्परेचर पर होती है. और ये पॉइंट आपने हमेशा याद रखना है कि टेम्परेचर का जो फैक्टर है वो एलोट्रॉपी पे बहुत ज़्यादा असरअंदाज होता है, क्योंकि जितनी भी उनकी फ़िज़िकल स्टेट्स हैं वो टेम्परेचर पे डिपेंडेंट होती हैं. तो टेम्परेचर आपका इस वक्त मेजर फैक्टर है जिसको आपने याद रखना. Now the third property of allotropy or allotrop will be written as, note it down, it is the arrangement of atoms, as I told you in the previous second point, arrangement of atom that is actually dependent upon the change of temperature. If the temperature of the substance, temperature of the atom will be changed, then the atoms will also be change their arrangement. Atom will change their arrangement in such a manner that new allotropic forms will be produced. Is it clear? So arrangement of atom basically change, and why do they change? Because temperature is changed. Now the fourth one, the fourth property of allotropes, and it is very important, and I am going to write the definition of the transition temperature in this way, that as I told you in the third point that temperature can affect the allotropic form. So transition temperature is basically that temperature. It is very important, you have to note down for the short question answer. The transition temperature is that temperature at which one allotropic form changes into another, and normally all the states of allotropic forms do show their properties on this temperature. So finally I can write a simple general equation that allotropes can change into another allotrop at this transition temperature. So this is the conversion. So you have to remember this conversion with transition temperature. Now we are going to give some examples. I am writing some examples which are related to allotropes, because I have already mentioned some of the examples of oxygen, O2 and O3 in the previous points, and even I told you about the different types of allotropic forms of sulfur as well. So now I am going to give the detail of the different allotropes of sulfur. In this, you must know first of all the molecular formula of sulfur, which is S8. So what is S8? It is the molecular formula of sulfur, in which 8 atoms of sulfur are present. Now there are some points which you have to note down here, and one of the most important thing is that I am writing a temperature here that is 96 degrees Celsius, which indicates that it is a transition temperature. And what is transition temperature? As I told you in the previous point, again and again I am telling you so you can remember it easily, that 96 degrees Celsius is the transition temperature. It is that temperature at which one allotropic form of sulfur is converted into another allotropic form. So here is that conversion. So first one is the rhombic sulfur, that is actually converted into its another allotropic form at about, it can be the transition temperature of sulfur is 96 degrees Celsius. So below this temperature the rhombic form is stable. So if rhombic form is heated above 96 degrees Celsius, its molecules rearrange themselves to give monoclinic form, that is the monoclinic allotropic form of sulfur. So this is the importance of the transition temperature in this matter. So I am writing the conversion in front of you. The rhombic is converted into the monoclinic sulfur, and the monoclinic sulfur is basically the needle like in shape, while the rhombic sulfur rhombic sulfur is in the shape of rhombus. I am writing also the S8 along with it, which indicate there is no change in the chemical properties except only the physical shape of these substances, that is the allotropes, are being changed. So rhombic is basically rhombus shaped, and this conversion also taking place at 96 degrees Celsius, and below this temperature we can say the rhombic form is stable. It will not be broken down or convert into the monoclinic form. Now after this point we must know there are some other things, that there is a third form of allotropic form of sulfur as well, which is not stable than the rhombic sulfur. So these two forms normally exist more in nature, both monoclinic as well as rhombic. Now I'm going to write the next example of the allotropic form of tin having symbol SN. You know very well about this metal tin, which is having a symbol SN. So this is a symbol of tin. Now in the similar manner, tin shows different allotropic forms. Like I am giving you this conversion in this way, that one SN converts into another SN at about the transition temperature, which is 13.2 degrees Celsius. Now I am going to write the temperature 13.2 degree Celsius. So this is the transition temperature for the conversion of one form of allotrope of tin into another. As you have seen the transition temperature in the case of sulfur, so this is also the transition temperature in this case. Now I am writing some another thing, if you note it down, that I am writing the color of tin, and even what is color of, that is gray color of tin indicates, physical property, and on the other hand white color. So both colors indicate that this conversion of one allotropic form of tin, which is gray, into another that is white, normally is due to at transition temperature or due to transition temperature. Now second point is related to it is the shape. Not only the color but also the shape is the physical property, in which I am writing again the cubic and the tetragonal shapes of these two allotropic form of tin. Now what is the meaning of tetragonal? Four-sided shape. Can you see this four-sided? These can be the rhombus, square, rectangle, and so many other shapes, while the cubic shape having somewhat like this structure or shape. So the shape and color are two physical properties which are changed during this conversion at about the 13.2 degree Celsius. With these shapes I am going to represent here. Now again you can note it down that gray tin is converted into the white tin. So conversion of this not only depending upon the color but also at the transition temperature, there are different allotropic forms of sulfur. Now the next example I am going to write on the board is phosphorus. Phosphorus. And the molecular formula of phosphorus is P4. P4. Is it clear? The molecular formula of phosphorus is P4, and the phosphorus also has different allotropic forms, in which first I am going to give the conversion of one allotropic form of phosphorus P4 into another P4, that is another allotropic form. So this conversion is also based on transition temperature. So this conversion is actually taking place at about 250 degrees Celsius. What is the transition temperature in this case? 250 degrees Celsius, in which one of the most important thing is this, that both have the similar chemical properties but having different physical properties. And what are those physical properties which are different? First is color. So I'm writing two colors along with these two allotropic forms. One is the white, another one is red. White and red indicate that white color phosphorus converts into the red one, and this is also these are two allotropic forms of phosphorus. So depending upon again physical properties. Now you have to memorize and also write down some of the differences between the red and white phosphorus. So I'm going to write first the first difference of white phosphorus. So white phosphorus normally is very reactive in nature. White phosphorus is very reactive in nature, that they have the ability to react with other atoms as well, while the red phosphorus do not have or doesn't have the ability to react, so they are less reactive in nature. We can say that in both cases the white phosphorus is very reactive and red phosphorus is less reactive. Now the second point. Second point is dealing with their nature. Either they are poisonous, they are sweet in taste. So basically white phosphorus is poisonous, while on the other hand red phosphorus is non-poisonous. It is not poisonous as much as compared to the white phosphorus. Even you have seen it in the powder form, the paste form of the matchstick as well. Red phosphorus, आपने माचिस की तीली में से देखा होगा, ये माचिस की जो स्टिक होती हैं उसमें रेड phosphorus इस्तेमाल होता है. Okay, the next point is related to the white phosphorus. It is a waxy solid. Waxy solid means that a solid having geometrical shape and wax like in appearance. मोमबत्ती की तरह का wax होता है इसके अंदर, और जो कि मेल्टिंग की एक पूरी जो है इसमें एबिलिटी होती है. So we can call it the waxy solid. So this is the property of white phosphorus, that it can melt and having or giving the waxy appearance. While on the other hand the red phosphorus is a brittle powder. What is the meaning of brittle powder? That brittle mean basically having no definite shape, and the powder forms in show that normally all the solids have some geometrical shape. Okay, solids have geometrical shape, like white phosphorus is tetra-atomic molecule. Tetra-atomic molecule mean it has four sides in its shape. Four sides mean can be the rectangle, square, rhombus, as I have drawn in front of you. So it is a tetramolecular structure. While on the other hand the red phosphorus is a brittle powder having no proper or definite geometrical shape, because meaning of powder that it doesn't have any geometrical shape. So you have to remember all these examples of the phosphorus or different allotropic forms of phosphorus as well. This is the end of lesson. I hope you have understood it very clearly. This is the end of today's lesson and topic as well as the chapter. Thank you.